The news is now broke and the move is officially official. The Carolina Panthers are trading wide receiver Adam Thielen back to the Minnesota Vikings in exchange for a collection of picks. And in this video, I'm going to give you all my initial reaction to the trade as well as discuss a few ramifications that I can see down the road. And we're going to get into all of that right after this.
I'm from the foe. You dig?
Welcome to The Way I See It with Jamario Rashad. This is a Carolina Panthers fan channel. Please make sure you subscribe as I am on my road to 3K, trying to make sure my channel continues to grow as this season plays out. Now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get to the nitty-gritty of these trade details. Now, it was uploaded. Official story was uploaded on Panthers.com just yesterday, and it reads, quote, Wednesday morning, the team agreed to trade veteran wideout Adam Thielen to the Vikings for a collection of future picks. The Panthers will receive a 2026 fifth rounder and a 2027 fourth rounder from the Vikings. They'll give the Vikings Thielen a conditional 2026 seventh rounder and a 2027 fifth rounder. That effectively is the value of a fourth round pick, which the Vikings did not have at the moment. Now, end quote. Now, after understanding exactly what was given between the two teams, the next question that would come up would be who exactly is on the hook for Adam Thielen's compensation moving forward into this next season, as it was reported in the offseason that the Carolina Panthers actually gave Adam Thielen a pay bump moving into this season after deciding not to retire and returning to the team for the 2025 season. According to Joe Pearson of the Person of the Athletic, the Panthers are on the hook for $1.75 million that they've already paid in bonuses to Adam Thielen, but the Vikings are going to be responsible for the remaining $7 million. So that teaches us that the Carolina Panthers not only have brought back a fourth round draft pick, but it also means that we've opened up $7 million more on our cap space, which gives us room to make potential moves throughout the season, extend certain guys possibly throughout the season, or give us a better outlook on what we could potentially be looking forward to in next season's free agency. But now that that's understood, with Adam Thielen gone, what exactly are my initial reactions to this move? Well, the first would have to be, congratulations to Adam overall. I believe anybody that grew up in a place, went to college in the specific city, went on to actually play for the professional team in that city, they gave you their chance. You made your name for that team, and unfortunately, you found your place. You found yourself somewhere later on in your career that was not where you originally were, and you have the opportunity to go back. Hey, man, I think anybody would jump on that opportunity, despite and ignoring all of the extra stuff in terms of what's going down on social media or things that his wife might have had to say. If you just look at this in a vacuum, I would like to say, congrats to Adam Thielen. Thank you for coming in and being the only steady piece in this offense in terms of the passing game that Bryce Young has had over the first two seasons of his career. Go on and live it up. But I wish you success. But of course, you're an op now, and I don't wish you more success than us. So fuck the Vikings. But moving on from that, what else this tells me, or what else this gives me, is an indication as to just how confident head coach Dave Canales is in this young wide receiver core, drafting two wide receivers in consecutive first rounds to help bolster this passing offense. When you have a guy that is 35 years old and has been pretty much force-fed for the last two seasons, or his first two seasons here with the Carolina Panthers, one could only imagine, or it's easy to assume, that if your two young first-round wide receivers aren't able to overtake a 35-year-old aging receiver who was contemplating retirement just a few months before, then you can officially admit early during your draft process or your evaluation process of those draft picks that you were wrong. And I don't think the Carolina Panthers are particularly in that situation. I believe that they think Xavier Legette is prepared to take a leap going into his second year in the NFL, and I believe that they just have had all of their suspicions and all of their ambitions about Teteroa McMillan confirmed throughout training camp as well as the preseason. So with Adam him being traded, that just gives us a good indication as to what is going on behind closed doors in terms of confidence in this young receiver core, mostly in the two of these guys that you see on your screen, but as well as undrafted second-year wide receiver Jalen Coker, who is quickly becoming a fan favorite, man. So if these two guys gained the favor of the coaching staff, of Dave Canales, of Brad Isaac, of whomever is going to be in the building making the decisions about how the snaps are deployed and who plays where and who plays when, it would be a little weird, or it would seem like a backwards business move to, as I mentioned earlier in the video, give Adam Thielen a pay raise to then demote him just a few months later. That's not good business at all. Why would we give him more money to be a less active participant in the offense? That made no sense whatsoever. So once that happened, and this whole trade and all this trade talk came about, it was pretty much the writing on the wall, because they were not going to allow somebody who is one of the more highly paid people in the wide receiver room to be somebody that just fades into obscurity. That wasn't going to happen. If you have the opportunity to get a middle of the draft pick for a 35-year-old man that was contemplating retirement, it's just good damn business to do it. So I say, good on Dan Morgan, good on Brant Tillis, good on whomever decided to pull the trigger on this move, because if you didn't, we could possibly have one more season of Adam Thielen being decent. We don't know what he's going to be in his 35-year-old season, and he could possibly retire at the end of the season, and we get nothing after this. The Panthers are not going to the Super Bowl this year. We are not gearing up to make some immaculate run that nobody saw coming. So Adam Thielen's value can be seen more so in what he can be traded to add to what he can be traded for, that can be an addition in the future, that outweighs what he would be able to provide in this season. So I think that's just good value right there. But those are my initial thoughts, or were my initial thoughts, when I heard about this Adam Thielen move going down. But what is the initial ramification that I think that this has? And that came about earlier today when Dan Morgan, our GM, was speaking in his post all these moves, in his first press conference since making all of those moves. He spoke about undrafted second-year wide receiver fan favorite Jalen Coker, and spoke about him being the official wide receiver that is going to be playing the slot, the person that is going to be slotted in as a starter. And I believe that is the biggest and the most in the how am I going to say this? The ramification that is going to be most clear when you turn on the game each and every Sunday. But what getting rid of Adam Thielen and clearing up that $7 million allows you to do is potentially look forward on Jalen Coker's contract, who he currently is sitting at a exclusive rights free agent. If you're not sure what that means, I had to look it up myself. Any player with fewer than 3 accrued seasons on an expiring contract, if his original team offers him a 1-year contract at the league minimum, the player cannot negotiate with other teams. So what would that mean? At the conclusion of this season, yes, Jalen Coker will technically be a free agent, but if the Carolina Panthers decide to offer him literally anything, he has no leverage and no ability to go discuss a contract with any other team, he or his agent. But what exactly does that do? If he is not extended, whether it be throughout the season, and we've heard Coach Canales and we've heard Dan Morgan talk about wanting to reward the guys that have put in the work, that have been here, kept their heads down, and just been somebody that has contributed to the culture of the team. When you look at a guy like Jalen Coker, he's done just that, worked his way up from the very bottom of the roster, no complaints, no issues, no anything. We saw that they were willing to extend Chuba Hubbard during the season, so I believe that it is a possibility that we could see an extension for Jalen Coker either throughout this season or possibly at the end of next season. But if you wait until next season, what that does is give Jalen Coker the ability to have 2 more seasons of film put out there for display for the rest of the league, for the rest of the world to disseminate. But that also aligns his contract up with a potential extension for Bryce Young. And in that same season, we could be looking at Ike Ekwonu playing on the 5th-year option next year, which is a guaranteed $17.5 million. So when you think about all these numbers and think about all the cap gymnastics that Brant Tillis has to do, one could only assume, or I could assume, that it would be a lot easier to go ahead and reward Jalen Coker now, get him on a team-friendly multi-year deal before he has the opportunity to show out, which most people, including myself, believe that he truly will do this season. Go ahead and get him locked down early, so that when these recent draft picks do start to come up for contracts and we do have to pay the big bucks for our guys that did work out, i.e., Derek Brown and J.C. Horn, when we have to reward our homegrown guys, we want for the other players that are littered throughout the roster that were not necessarily high draft picks, who are going to have the overall, pretty much the right to argue for this top tier money because of the draft pedigree and because of how they performed in their early careers. You might as well get him paid early so that we do not have to worry about that until all of these other pieces and all of these other things are taken care of, man. Because my biggest fear for Jalen Coker is if he is not extended at the conclusion, or at least throughout this season or at the end of it, that he will play his way out of Carolina, because under no circumstance are you going to want to franchise a guy and pay him damn near $40 million, $35 million for your undrafted guy. You have 2 first rounders that you have to pay coming up after that. You would eventually, business wise, you would have to let him go. So to avoid that potentially being an issue, I say we put pen to paper within the next year and a half to make sure that we can avoid that happening. But what do you all think about this topic? What do you all think about the Carolina Panthers trading Adam Thielen? What do you all think about Jalen Coker stepping up and officially getting that role? There being no doubt him being the guy. Do you think that he will continue to perform on the trajectory that he showed us as a rookie? Do you think that we will see some possible sophomore slumps, some growing pains? Do you think that he might eventually become the number 2 wide receiver over Xavier Legette? Whatever you think, leave your comments down in the comment section. I'll be sure to get back to you then. But until next time, I am Jamario Rashad. This is the way I see it, and I'm out. Peace.